Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, onimuli wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so honored and so delighted that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show, and please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Good Pods, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Dave Finnigan. He is here to celebrate the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. Before we invite Dave into the studio, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by Bunky and the Worms, The Christmas Story, the multi-award-winning children's novel by Alexandra Triniecka. I have to tell you, my friends, Bunky and the Worms is the perfect Christmas gift. Bunky and the Worms is all about the power of friendship, the power of dreams, and the power of kindness. What will happen if one slightly grumpy Bunky has to become a brave Christmas hero, repair Santa Claus's sleigh, and deliver gifts all over the world? Bunky's quest to save Christmas will take him on a journey into his own heart. Bunky and the Worms, The Christmas Story is an inspiring novel that proves that we are what we strive to be and never what we are failing at. We are the dream we believe in. Bunky and the Worms, The Christmas Story is the perfect Christmas dream. Get your copy today. Bunky and the Worms, The Christmas Story by Alexandra Triniecka. And if you haven't connected with us on social media yet, please do. We would love to connect with you. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram and TikTok. And if you're on Twitter, please connect with at Jedley Magic. And of course, we would love for you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. You can sign up for our free online magazine, and you can also use the contact button at the top of the page to send us a message. Let us know what we're doing well, let us know what we could be doing better, and let us know who you would like to hear on a future episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Join us right now for one of the happiest places in the world, Celebration, in the state of Florida. Our guest is here today to celebrate the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. Please welcome to the show, Dave Finnigan. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Well, I'm just peachy keen. I'm here in Celebration, Florida, right on the fringe of Disney World. We are in this lovely town that Disney built about 25 years ago, and we were some of the first residents.
Wow. Well, let's just talk about, because a lot of folks have heard about Celebration and the fact that Disney designed this, I don't know, is utopian community too much of a stretch to say?
Yeah, it's too much of a stretch. It's just a town. But we're very happy with it. And I think that everybody who comes here will understand when they've seen it that it really was done well. For instance, in the hurricanes, we don't have any problem. And the reason is because by the time Disney got around to building Celebration out of the same swamp that they had built 4 theme parks in, they knew how to build here in Central Florida. So we don't have any flooding, and we've never lost our electricity.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable. What an experience living in the happiest place in the world. It really is remarkable. So tell us about, I want, you've a fascinating background. The Green Actioneers Family Action Guide is not your first book. You were sharing with me that you've sold over 1 million juggling books, and I am the owner of at least one of those juggling books.
Well, I started out in 1976 writing a little book called The Joy of Juggling. And I sold that book door to door, so to speak, going to magic stores and getting the magic stores to buy the book, and then they sold it on to the customer. And it was doing quite well, but then the physical education people picked it up, and once the PE people got it, then it went everywhere. And I designed a program called Juggling for Success, and I could go into a school and get the entire school juggling in a day. So I went to over 2,000 elementary schools in 46 states and 12 countries and taught everybody how to juggle with slow-moving nylon scarves, because with scarves, anybody could do it. Mm-hmm. So the kindergarten could do it and their grandmas could do it. So we would have the kids learn during the day, and then in the evening, the parents would come in and we would hold family night, and everybody learned to juggle. And I trained 50 people to take that program around the country and in fact around the world. And we published the book in German, French, Italian, Dutch, Spanish, and Portuguese, and sold over 1 million copies.
Wow. You know, I initially tried to teach myself how to juggle when I left human services and went into the arts and the theater and was a clown. And I thought, well, in addition to falling off the stage and falling out of chairs, I should probably develop a skill. Not that falling out of a chair and not breaking your neck is not a skill, but I should do something that is recognized as a skill. And I tried to teach myself how to juggle standing in front of my bed so I didn't have to chase the balls all around when I dropped them. And it was nearly impossible until I learned that one little secret of when to throw the next ball. And it was one of these things, as soon as somebody taught me that, it was like, oh, wow, it's not easy, but now this makes sense. And I went from 0 to, not 100, but I went from 0 to 25 very quickly.
Yeah, it's a skill that anybody can learn if they don't have a physical disability, and they have to go step by step. And the problem is people rush into it and try to do the whole thing at once. And what you do is you get a single object and you follow that object around, and you understand that that object is tracing an infinity sign in the air. And then you add additional objects to that pattern. And the key is, as you say, when you throw, and you throw when the previous one is at the peak. And so you just keep alternating right, left, right, left, right, left, and you do it with 3, and you can do exactly the same thing with 5 and 7. It's just a lot faster, and your reflexes will definitely improve as a result of learning to juggle. But that's not the book I'm promoting now.
No,
I'm
you're
putting
juggling
the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide.
Yes, and you're juggling something much more important.
Absolutely. If I sold 1 million copies of a silly little juggling book, just think what we can do with a really important book like the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. It's 100 steps that you can take to go green, and we're going to distribute it the same way that we distributed the juggling books. And the way we did the juggling books, we'd have everybody learn during the day in school. All the kids would learn. They get really excited. The teachers would learn. And then the parents would come in for family night. And at family night, the kids would teach the parents how to juggle. And then everybody went home with a book. And not just with a book, but with other things as well. The juggling objects themselves. Well, using that same model, we're going to be getting the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide into the hands of families all over the country. Sort of think of it like Scholastic Books. Mm-hmm. Scholastic Books comes into your school and they set up a family night. They call it the book fair, and they have maybe 100 books or 200 books from which you can select the ones that you wish. Well, now we're going to have our book fair, but we're only going to have one book. And that book is the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. So you'll be able to pick up the book at school in the evening when we hold family night.
So what will you be doing during the day to excite the kids, to get them to bring their parents back to school at night?
Well, we're going to take the book classroom to classroom and let every student leaf through a copy of the book. And what they'll find when they look through the book is, first, that it's a coloring book. That's fun. Then it's got word games and puzzles based on the English and Spanish of the action on each page. So each page has an action that you can take to go green. And then there's also quotes from famous people. There's over 120 quotes from notable people, ranging from ancient Greek history to modern pop stars. Mm-hmm. So the kids will be able to research that, find out who is this Copernicus person, or who is this John Lewis who made this wonderful statement about the environment. So we think that we can capture the imagination of elementary with the coloring book, middle school with the games and puzzles, high school with the quotes from famous people, and of course it's in English and Spanish. And just for kickers, we have a Where's Waldo feature, and that is a chance to find two little space creatures, and they're in every picture. So as you look through the book, you can go looking for can do and can't do, and can do and can't do are from Muga, and Muga is make our universe green again. And the whole idea is to see if humans are going to make it or not. And at the end of the book, I hope we discover that humans are going to make it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that there are 100 different actions families can take to become Green Actioneers. What's number 47?
Oh, well, we'll have to look in the index to find that out. That's shop at your local farmer's market.
Ah, okay. Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. So it's a very simple thing that a family can do. They don't have to go out and build their own solar power farm. These are simple little actions that every family can take.
Yeah, it's things like shifting from paper to cloth. You know, don't buy all those paper towels. You don't need them. Or it's shifting your lawn care equipment to electric. Or instead of going to a fast food restaurant, take a family bike ride and go on a picnic, or carpool. Mm-hmm. Any of these things. Some of them are pretty simple. So a lot of them are free or save you money. And of course, there are a few that will have huge impact that are more expensive. One would be to buy an electric vehicle, but you're going to have to buy a new car someday anyway. Mm-hmm. And electric vehicles are now so much less expensive to operate. And stop flying so much. I think we learned during the COVID pause that we can get a lot of work done without going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So that's another good thing to do. And of course, cut down on the amount of meat that you eat. Go vegan if you possibly can, but don't eat so much beef particularly, because it's very bad for the environment. And so there are things that you can do that are going to save money, and there are things that you're going to do that are good for your health, mm-hmm. like getting off of so much meat. So there's a lot of things that are in the book that are logical that you would do anyway, but then they're the expensive ones, like shifting out all of your windows for double paned windows, or putting insulation in your walls and things like that. They're going to cost some money. Mm-hmm. But luckily the government is chipping in on some of these things now. And so you can get credit on your income tax for doing these wonderful, helpful things that are going to get us all eventually to sustainability, which is where we have to be.
Yeah. What was it that inspired you to lead this charge to build a battalion of Green Actioneers?
Well, it became an obsession with me when I was a kid, because I grew up a Navy brat, and we lived all over the world, and everywhere we lived, I noticed as time went by that it was getting to be more polluted, that things were not the way that they had been when I was first born and when I first started exploring the beach. And then I discovered there was a lot of pollution out there that I didn't know existed. And so that began the pathway for me. And all of Rachel Carson's books, I'm very old, I was born before the Second World War. And so I read all of Rachel Carson's books as soon as they came out, and that got me very inspired. And then between that and living all over the world, I realized that there are things that we have got to do in order to be sustainable. Luckily, I've had the preparation for it by having been in those 2,000 elementary schools in 46 states. So I know schools, and I know books, and I know kids, and I know parents. And so I think that this is going to be a big hit, that we'll be able to create a program that's going to get the parents and kids reading together and going through the book together and doing things together, and then proving to the rest of the school that they've done this by putting a big chart out in the hallway in the school. And the chart says, our green actions across the top. And then anytime any family takes a green action, the kids can put a Post-it note up on the chart that says our green action, and then says the green action they've just taken. And that'll be the motor for the ongoing program, is the chart in the hallway that the kids can brag about and point to for their friends to try to emulate. And so that's how the program works. And all we need to find is that green-hearted mom in every school. I say mom because it usually is a mom who is trying to persuade everybody to do more recycling and go green. And so she's the green-hearted PTA person, and she's the one who's going to bring us into the school. And I know she exists out there in every school.
Yeah. I have to ask the business plan for, and that's actually the best term, the business plan you developed first for your juggling book. Where did that come? Did you sit down one day and just have this brainstorm? Oh, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to invade schools and then I'm going to have a team that's going to invade more schools? Or was it you were doing enrichment programs in schools, doing juggling shows, and then you just thought of a way to branch out?
It started with the book. Books have their own momentum. And so I created the book, and then I went, okay, now how am I going to get this book into the hands of kids? So I went to a local school and I said, I'd like to come in and teach all your kids how to juggle. And they went, wow, that's a great idea. And they turned me over to the PE teacher. Well, PE teachers don't want to just throw out the ball. They really want to teach the kids skills that they can keep for the rest of their life. And so PE teachers began bringing me into their school as a guest. And then I would teach the whole school how to juggle, one grade level at a time. And so I developed teaching techniques for every grade level from kindergarten through high school. And as a consequence, it gained its own momentum. But I find that if you just put your book out there and put some energy behind it, that it will find a way. It will find a path if it's a good book. And so that's what we're going to do with the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. But we have the benefit of having sold all these other books in schools and having created a school program that really worked and didn't just work in the United States, but worked in France and Germany and Italy and Spain, so that wherever you went, you could become a juggler. And now wherever you go, we hope you'll become a Green Actioneer.
Yeah. So we get the kids excited by leafing through the books. Once the families come for family night, are they doing more than just buying the book? Are there activities that's going on that night?
Yeah, here's how it works. When the families arrive at family night, every family gets a book. And they go sit on the floor with their book and they go through it and they find something that they know they can do. And then one of the kids raises their hand, and Professor Green, that's the person on stage. It'll be me in a few schools, but it'll be that Green Actioneer mom or dad in other schools. And they point to the kid and they go, okay, Bobby, what are you going to do? And then Bobby says, well, we're going to, and then he has something he's picked. We're going to take shorter showers. And then Professor Green says, okay, kids, everybody who can take shorter showers, jump up and shout, we can do that too. Well, then all the kids jump up and shout, we can do that too. And then, we're going to recycle. We can do that too. We're going to conserve water. We can do that too. We're going to plant trees. We can do that too. So now we get a lot of energy in the room. And the kids are jumping up and shouting these things, and the parents are getting excited too. Well, after we've done about 12 or 14 of them, then Professor Green will add a couple, like put solar panels on the roof and buy an electric car. And the kids will jump up and say, shout, we can do that too, even if the parents don't give them the high sign. And now we've got a school that's excited about going green. So Professor Green then says, grown-ups only, if you want to be on the green team for the school, raise your hand. And a bunch of hands will go up. Professor Green says, if your hand is in the air, stand up. If you're standing, come to the front of the room. If you're in the front of the room, put your arms around each other's shoulders and take a bow, and principal, take a picture. Great. We now have a green team. So in one day, we go from nobody knows about this going green thing to, first we had a teachers meeting early in the morning. The teachers learned all about it. The kids learned about it in the classroom. Everybody learned about it at family night, and now we have a green team. And that all happens in one day. So that's the program. And I haven't done the entire program yet, but I did a program called Climate Change is Elementary, and I presented that program in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and Colorado. I couldn't present that program here in my home state of Florida because of the title, Climate Change is Elementary. They go, oh, no, we don't believe in climate change here in Florida. What? So I had to rename it. And so now it's Green Actioneers. And when I did the Climate Change is Elementary program, I didn't have a book to give people, but after family night, I gave them a checklist. Well, the checklist became the table of contents for the book. So the book is going to really empower the program, and what was Climate Change is Elementary and what was only acceptable in a few states is now going to be acceptable everywhere, because in our book, we do not mention climate change, global warming, or sea level rise, because we don't have to, because we're only talking about solutions. We're not talking about the problem. So there are no dead polar bears in our book. It's not a scary book. It's not about the bad things that are going to happen if we do everything wrong. It's about the great things that are going to happen when we do everything right.
You know, that is genius. No, I really mean it, because, you know, we're recording this the day after the midterm elections here in 2022. And typically what I do, I try to make myself as informed as possible for different issues, but I don't listen to all the arguing and the fighting and the nonsense. And the nonsense goes on from both sides of the political aisle. And, you know, so I love this idea that, okay, we're not going to fight. We're not going to talk about the bad things that lots of people love to talk about just to get people on their side and get them scared. Let's talk about the great things that are going to happen if we come together and we take these simple steps that are going to make our individual lives better, make our family's life better, and help the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're a fisherman, you might not believe that the climate is changing, but you do want to have fish that you can eat. And so you don't want that water to be polluted. And if you're a hunter, you want more game that you can shoot. And if you're a day laborer, you want to work under the trees, not out in the sun. And if you're a farmer, you want healthy soil. So it doesn't matter what your politics is. You want a clean, green future. And that's what we're going to give everybody, is a clean, green future, thanks to the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And I love so much about this. I love that you're taking this on you built a business plan around this social action that you're trying to take out. You've developed a way to get kids excited about it, to get parents excited about it, to get the word spread out there in a very efficient way, to kind of take it to scale, to steal a term that I hear on Shark Tank all the time. So that's really that's really wonderful. It's really important for us to know where we can go to find out more about the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide.
Yeah, well, we're at greenactioneers.com, and happy to have you come get a digital copy of the book right away. I'm happy to give them away because digital doesn't work for this book because you really need the coloring book and you need the games and puzzles. So we are happy to have people take a digital book and then spread the word and come back and get the print book. Now, the good thing about the print book is that it arrives at the school in boxes of 15, and it costs the school $15 per book, but it has $20 price tag on it. So the school makes $5 on every book that they sell.
Great.
And so we're happy to have schools purchase them in lots of 15 or more, and then resell them to the families. And if people don't use exactly the program that I've designed, that's fine. But if you want to learn that program, it's in the front of the book. It tells you how to do that. So all you have to do is get one book, and it tells you how to administer the complete program, from teachers meeting in the morning to family night in the evening and all the steps in between.
Wonderful. We've had a really fascinating time speaking to the author of the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. Our guest has been Dave Finnigan. Hey, Dave, thanks. Not only thanks so much for being with us, but thanks for taking on this important role.
Well, everybody else has been thinking that change is going to trickle down from the top, that if we have enough of these COPs, like we're in COP 27 right now, that somehow change is going to happen at the village level. Well, that's not how change takes place. Change bubbles up from the bottom, and so I'm making bubbles.
There you go. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you so much.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guests will be Andrea and Gabe Olson. They'll be here to celebrate A Little Love. It's the latest in their Big God Book series. That's the next episode of the podcast. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guest, Dave Finnigan. Please be sure to check out the Green Actioneers Family Action Guide. I also want to thank our sponsor, Alexandra Triniecka. Please be sure to check out Funky and the Worms, The Christmas Story. I want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Lori Grady, Mirabella Q, Jordan Saley, Skylar Strauss. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.